So, you wanted to grind in Curse Tank Simulator, but this is your first time playing it. In today's video, I will be showing you how to grind in Curse Tank Simulator. Before we get into the video, note that this is based on my suggestions from experience. Other than that, this video focuses on building medium tanks more. This is very important to make sure that you can complete your task. Anyways, let's get into the topic. If this is your first time playing it, you will have these 4 tanks as a starter. You can modify it if you want to. While you have $3,000, you have no crates, nothing, not even blueprints or materials. You can start the game 2 ways. Start it now or upgrade your tank before starting it. For starters, try the game because just in case if you don't like the game, you don't need to grind and waste time. If you like the game, you can continue this process. Every time you win or you lose, you will receive money, XP, and some crates. I highly recommend you save these crates for higher tier. Speaking of high tier, you will need a lot of money because you will need to keep upgrading tanks. You're gonna need to be active in this game if you want to grind early as possible because the best way to earn more money is through completing missions right over here. You also have to be wise when spending money, which I'm gonna go through the tutorial right a sec. The first step of upgrading the tank is upgrading the firepower. I recommend go for the Chinu's gun or the 75mm Empire. You must update your tank before you get to tier 3 to tier 4. I highly recommend go for the Battle Pass 3 because it has a good space armor at each side. However, the Chinu has a big weak spot at the front that any shells can penetrate through, which can cause one shot, one kill. The sides and the butt, however, has a very thin armor. Because of the thin armor, it can be easily penetrated by machine guns, which could hurt your tank very badly than usual. If you have enough money, you can go for the T-34. This is a very good hull for tier 5 and 6 due to the good slop armor. Once you got the hull, go for the turret. I highly recommend go for the early Sherman turret, which is the M4A2. For the guns, I recommend choose any of these 3 because they're reliable. Avoid these 2 due to long reload. I highly recommend avoid the Lorraine due to the lack of armor, even it has good mobility. The Black Prince, however, I would avoid that too due to the lack of mobility and you can get outflanked easily. The FV4202 is the same thing as the Lorraine, but even though they have a very sloped armor, the front armor is very thin and it still get penetrated. Don't forget to mention that the hull has very bad reverse speed. My high recommendation is the M48A3. If you're broke, you can go for the Battle Pass, then get the M48A3. The reason why I highly recommend getting the M48A3 is it's a very decent hull that you can use for tier 7 and 8. In tier 7 and 8, due to the introduction of APFSDS, the tier focus more on mobility than armor. In that case, keep using the M48A3 and save money for tier 9 and higher. Now for the cannon. Stay away from the cannon that has long reload even if it has a lot of damage. Instead, go for these cannon I've pointed out. You can go for the SA50 or the Mariatu. Personally, I'll go for the Mariatu due to high penetration access with the APDS. If you want to take it to the next level, you can go for the 77HV. For tier 7 through 8 cannon, I highly recommend go for the CN105FT due to the early access of APFSDS. If you're not ready, you can try to settle down for a while and go for the lower level damage cannon, like the German Tiger II cannon, the Econ 2, or the Type B, or you can go for the L74. For turret, I highly recommend go for the Centurion due to the early access to stabilizers that will help your combat very effective. If you're broke, you can go for the M48A3. However, I would avoid using the Tiger turret. This is due to the traverse speed, very slow. For tier 9 through 10, you can choose the Merkava or the T72. Personally, I would go for the T72 because you have auto loader. However, you have a big weak spot at the bottom of the turret. One shot at that area, you'll likely get killed. If you want to take to the next level, you can go for the Contender. You can still go for the Abrams if you want to, but personally I will go for the Contender because it has a good reload multiplier. Aside the reload multiplier, I would personally go for the Royal Cannon because it has good reload speed, at least 5 seconds. Perfect use for the Contender. For a higher tier, I recommend go for the 125mm because you have the access of using the ATGM. But if you want, you can go for the Japanese TKG or the Type 10 Cannon. For the hull, I recommend go for the MSC or you can go for the Challenger 2 if you have enough money. You can go for the M1 if you want to, or the Japanese Type 90. But the Japanese Type 90 has weak armor, but the mobility is high and has a hydraulic pneumatic suspension that you can snipe across the hill. For the higher tier hull, I recommend go for the Leopard 2. Very decent hull, better than the Type 90, which the Type 90 has bad reverse speed. For the turret, you can choose any of the turret. Avoid the EXM. My personal recommendation is the updated Abrams turret, or you can go for the T90M if you have enough money. However, there's a better alternative to upgrade your tanks to max tier, which is using the money you have for blueprints. For the hull, avoid the T14 Armada and the Toyota. The T14 is due to the lack of multiplier reload, but the Toyota is the lack of mobility. You can get outflanked easily. Other than that, you can choose any of the hull from tier 11 to tier 12. For the turret, I would highly recommend go for the T84120 or the Leopard or the Challenger 2 because they both have good armor. For fast reloading turret, go for the Type 10. Bear in mind that the armor is a little weaker. Using this turret for sniping and flanking is highly recommended. For the cannon, I highly recommend go for the L44, but if you have enough money and you want to take it to the next level, go for the L55A1. It's a very good cannon with powerful APFSDS round. I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, give this video a like. Don't forget to comment if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you have corrections or better ideas to make grinding better. They're very helpful for viewers watching this video. Other than that, I will see you next time. Goodbye for now.